Welcome back, everybody. I am Jay. He's Maddie. This is Yankee and the Brit Sports Talk. And today we're going to talk about two of the best quarterbacks in the NFL sitting on the couch. But, Maddie, this was your idea, so why don't you lead us off?
Yeah, so there's been a lot of talk about two future Hall of Famers recently who've just been sent home in the most recent edition of the soap opera that is the NFL. And to we all knew the stories of Aaron Rodgers. We all knew, and we're going to cover them. But what I found surprising was on the broadcast last night is the talk about Tom Brady thinking about retirement. Tom Brady is thinking about retirement, according to the broadcast. It's the fact that it comes out during the broadcast that astounds me. What do you think about that?
I just remember last year him saying he was going to play until, at least 45. He's only 44. So, I don't think it's over. But that's just me. And he seems to me like one of those guys that you almost are going to have to drag off the field. And if you can still play, man, he threw for more yards than anybody this year. Look at every time he throws a pass, it's a record. But he can still play, so I don't think it'll happen. But maybe I'm completely off base.
Yeah, it's almost the best season it is the best season he's ever had in terms of passing in the regular season, outside of that Randy Moss year in New England, which was just something else. It's the best season he's ever had, but a lot of people are saying, "Oh, the way that they lost last night and the way that there's been loads of dysfunction in Tampa is what may drive him away." I think that'll drive him on to the next season. I think, and a lot of people are talking about the speech at the podium that he gave, the fact he was saying, "Oh, I'm not thinking beyond five minutes," and the fact, but on the broadcast, somebody said that there's a lot of uncertainty around Tom Brady's future in Tampa Bay, but I saw the interview as him kind of saying, "Look, we just lost. I'm not thinking longer than 5 minutes because I need to dissect what happened so I won't let it happen next season when I come back." That's what I was kind of thinking when he was at the podium.
I think a lot of it's just haters praying that he retires because for some reason people hate on greatness. And I'm not the guy who does it. I enjoy watching greatness. So, I'm going to watch it, enjoy it. If for every game I got a Tom Brady because way closer to the end than it is the beginning. So, but I think a lot of it just comes down to people get sick of seeing Tom Brady win.
Yeah, and I mean, it did come from Schefter. Like Adam Schefter did come out and spoke about the possibility of Tom Brady's future in Tampa is not certain. He may leave after this season. So it's not like he's a reputable source. That kind of stuff does happen. And I imagine it is a conversation that Tom Brady's had. A conversation that probably lasted about 5 or 10 minutes before I went, "Yeah, that'll be back next year." Because it's almost like if they won, well, obviously he's going to come back and try and make the three-peat. And if they lost, that's going to drive him to win next year, as far as I'm concerned, even more. And the dysfunction in Tampa this season, outside of the Antonio Brown, is injury related, and that won't happen again or it could happen again next season, but it won't happen again next season to the same extent, I imagine. And they're just a few draft picks away from being elite again. Being elite, they are still elite. They're a fantastic football team who got hit by a lot of injuries. I think that's not going to sit with him well. I think that's going to make him want to come back next year rather than force him away, which is a lot of people are thinking. There's no trade move on the table for Tom Brady, though. That is definitely for certain. I'm sure he'll be ending his career in Tampa one way or another. But some talk about trade moves is with your boy, whose house is just down the street from you, Aaron Rodgers. What do we think about the possibility of Aaron Rodgers moving on?
Well, besides the late night drive-bys and the mixtapes that I make for him, okay. Anybody who saw, I posted it. Go read it on Yankee and the Brit. That was a nice comeback from somebody. But yeah. So Brady might leave. The only way Brady retires is if they don't retain like Godwin and all these guys who are up for contracts again. I think a lot of them guys end up staying, but maybe they get paid. I think Rodgers made it pretty clear on the podium that the Packers want to rebuild and he ain't up for that. And I think that was a nice way of him saying, "You don't have what I need to win here. Get me out of here."
Yeah. So his response, that soundbite, which a lot of people is taking and saying, "Oh, this means he moves on," is in response to a question that is, "Do you think you can still win a Super Bowl in Green Bay?" It wasn't like, "What's your future? Are you moving on?" The question was, the whole interview is, "Are you still? Do you still think you can win a Super Bowl in Green Bay?" And I think the question is really important there, because if he can't win a Super Bowl in Green Bay, he's moving. He's definitely going, because he needs that Super Bowl. Like he needs it, and he's done everything there is to do in the game. But he's got the same amount of Super Bowls as Super Bowl rings as Nick Foles, as Mike McCarthy, as
Joe Flacco.
Joe Flacco. Exactly. Like he's
Brent
not.
Dilfer, Brad Johnson. Yeah, like I
He
get it.
needs one more. There's a different kind of thing that comes with. Hasn't he got the same amount of Super Bowl appearances since McCarthy left, since Jared Goff and Jimmy Garoppolo?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And there's people right now who are using the argument that Brett Favre was a better quarterback because he made it to 2, even though he lost 1, and that kind of stuff. Rodgers needs that second ring to cement himself on that Mount Rushmore for the majority of people, because there's a lot of people who don't want to give him the credit that he's got coming to, because they say he chokes in the playoffs and whatever else. If you think that Rodgers choked, just go watch our previous video.
Yeah, definitely. And so he could realistically be moving on if that's the way the Packers are going. I don't think that's the way the Packers should go. I'd give everything to Rodgers. I'd probably give everything to Adams, but that's not the kind of organization the Green Bay Packers are. And that's probably one of the reasons why Aaron Rodgers has only got 1 Super Bowl ring, is because that's the organization they are. And this is the most wins somebody has put together in a 3-season stretch, or this is the most wins somebody's had in the regular season without getting to a Super Bowl. I believe. I think that was the stat that I saw. And maybe it's time for both to kind of go their own way as well. Let's be real. Let's be real. If the Packers didn't get it done against the 49ers, who are weaker than them in a lot of positions, maybe it is time to rebuild in Green Bay and go in a different direction and see what happens, because that's what they do best. Continuity is what they do best. And maybe they've reached the furthest point that they're going to get with Aaron Rodgers. I don't think they have, but maybe that's where their head is. And maybe if you get a lot of stuff in a trade and a decent quarterback, then that would be a good way for you to go as well.
You've heard me say this. I think the Packers have wasted more quarterback talent in the last 30 years than any other franchise. And I don't even think it's an argument. If you want to argue with me, fine. But to me, that's not even an opinion. That's a fact. Aaron Rodgers, Brett Favre, 2 Super Bowls in 30 years. Like, come on, really? Also, I know coming from the Vikings fan, nobody really wants to hear this. But if I'm the Packers, man, I fucking sell out for the next 3 years. I sell the farm to try to get another Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers, because you are not guaranteed that you're going to have even a top 15 quarterback. You're not guaranteed you will find a top 20 quarterback. And I don't care what anybody says. That roster is not built to win without a decent quarterback. And if I'm Davante Adams, and I know they can franchise tag him, but if I'm Davante Adams and Rodgers leaves, I make myself such a pain in the ass that you don't want to keep me.
Yeah, if I'm Davante Adams, I'm licking my lips and looking at the LA Chargers.
I'm following Rodgers.
Yeah, I mean, wherever Rodgers goes, obviously, but I mean, if that's not a possibility, then you're looking at the LA Chargers and you're thinking, yes, please, I'll have me some of that.
Tampa Bay Buccaneers
and
might lose Godwin, bring in Davante Adams. I'm just saying, there's a lot of good quarterbacks out there, and if you really want to stick around for the Jordan Love era,
what I've just had as a thought, and I wrote it down on my notepad, is there's no good quarterbacks in this draft class, none. So what you should do if you're the Packers is tank all next year. Get rid of Aaron Rodgers, get rid of all the big stuff. And obviously this is coming from a Cowboys fan, so maybe I'm a bit biased and just want the Packers out of the way. But if this is the way that you want to go and you're sick of Aaron Rodgers, which is ridiculous to me, unfathomable. If he's the Dallas Cowboys quarterback, I'm selling everybody to keep Aaron Rodgers. But if this is the way that you want to go, tank, take the Alabama quarterback next year. What's his name? Bryce Young? Not Bryce Hall. He's a TikToker. It's definitely not him. I think his name is Bryce Young. Take the Alabama quarterback. He's looked absolutely fantastic, and rebuild from there. See where that gets you. Play Jordan Love for a year. See what you've got in that, and if you can get some good trade value, something like that would be the only way I could see it going for the Packers. But I can see it going in a lot of different directions for Aaron Rodgers. There's some great places for him to go.
Well, here's a teaser for an upcoming video because we're going to have 2 weeks before the Super Bowl. But you guys can argue if they're worth it or not, but I guarantee you, and you heard it here first, 2 quarterbacks go in the first round this year.
Yeah, which is low for this year. That which is really, really low considering how many went last
I know, but
year
you're hearing a lot of
year
pundits saying
before.
there's 0 first-round quarterbacks, and I'm telling people right now there's at least 2 guys who are going to walk out, but I'll hold those for a video between the championship and Super Bowl because we have 2 weeks.
Yeah, fantastic. And so Rodgers can go to a gluttony of places. Loads of people would love to have Aaron Rodgers. What do you think? Our Denver Broncos screams out to me. That's my number 1 pick for him.
Here we go, Steelers. Here we go. I think he's going to Pittsburgh by Mike Tomlin, but that means that the Steelers would have to do the most un-Steeler thing and trade for a quarterback.
Yeah, I think they've only given up 1 first-round pick in their entire history for a veteran. That's a genuine stat. They've given up 1 first-round pick for a veteran, and I understand. I get it. Develop your own players, all of that. Put them in the system. You'll keep the cap low, and then you can pay the best players that you find. But look at the Rams. Like we spoke about this ad nauseum during the season with Matt Stafford and getting traded to the Rams and stuff like that. But the way that the Rams just run their organization is different, and it's different, but it works. Like it's a different kind of the same. Like it gets a great way of running your team if you have certainty in your talent. Like the draft is lottery picks after all, whereas Matt Stafford is talented, you know that. Jalen Ramsey is talented, you know that. Like sometimes it's a great way to run your organization, and if you have all the pieces in place in that offense. If you have all of the pieces, which the Steelers seem to do, maybe outside an offensive lineman, then maybe you should sell out for Aaron Rodgers.
Well, and the thing is, it's going to come down to this. Any team who doesn't have multiple draft picks already that goes after an Aaron Rodgers, a Deshaun Watson, whoever, right? You got to make sure that your scouting department can find starters in the mid to late rounds, or you will crush yourself years running forward. So with the Rams, they're selling out for a Super Bowl right now. If their front office does not turn their 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th round picks into starters, it will catch up to them. But it's what is your goal? Am I willing to sell the future right now to see what happens for a championship? I'm a Vikings fan. I'll sell the next 15 years if you can bring me a Super Bowl next year. Like, so it just depends where your team's at, which I don't think the Packers are a team that would mortgage their future for the right now because they've proven they've had Rodgers and Brett Favre. The Steelers used to be like that, and they have been, but is this the one time where you go, I can get a transcendent quarterback, so forget what we used to do. We're going to do something different right now to get to where we want to be.
Yeah, and I mean the Steelers, they develop their players as well. They don't just throw them aside. They develop their players, which kind of means that your 2nd, 3rd, 4th round picks are going to work out if you're putting that time into developing them and getting good at that. Like teams like the Cowboys, like as shit as they've been for 26 years now, their drafting is outstanding. They draft some of the better players in the NFL, especially in recent years, and they could do like they're a team that would be able to trade 1st round picks and stuff like that. It would work for teams like that who have good drafting and developing departments. On the flip side, you have the Denver Broncos, who you see as a team who would be more than willing to mortgage their future, and they would be more than willing to go for a veteran quarterback with draft picks. It's worked for them before with Peyton Manning. Why wouldn't it work for them with Aaron Rodgers?
Well, Two things with them. One, I think that because their owners are selling, they have no idea who the new owners are going to be, and that there's this little board of trustees running the franchise. I think that hurts. You trying to get Rodgers in there because you're going to need an owner to sign off, because not only are you giving up a bunch of draft capital, but you're going to have to pay this man $50 million a year. And I don't care what anybody says. Rodgers is going to be your first $50 million a year quarterback. I know they're going to say that it's Patrick Mahomes because of the averages. A lot of his money is back-ended in Fugazi. So let's not pretend like that's all guaranteed money. Rodgers is going to be your first guy with a $50 million cap hit, salary cap hit for an actual salary moving forward. I truly believe that.
Yeah, and is Rodgers happy to play anywhere? I think that's a question that definitely comes into view. Like, is he happy to play in any city? Is what I mean, like in any location? No, probably not. So you're looking at places like Vegas. You're looking at places like Denver, which is a cool city to live in. Uh, I think that hurts Pittsburgh a little bit. Not that I've been to Pittsburgh and know a lot about it, but it's not got the craziest of good reviews. Pat McAfee's saying Micah Parsons saying it's pretty rough. So, is that a place where he wants to live? So it's definitely teams that are more like that than kind of your Cleveland Browns, which would make sense.
I know why you're forgetting, but don't forget the Giants have 2 top 10 first round picks this year. And if their new GM and coach have any chance of winning, you got to replace Danny Dimes.
Yeah, I mean, the only issue with that is even if the Packers rebuild, you've got to feel like with Aaron Rodgers there, they'll be better than the New York Giants. Like even in a pack, like the Giants are in a rebuild as well. Do you know what? The Giants are more of a worry, and this is somebody who we should have put in the video.
I think the Giants have a better roster, minus Adams and Rodgers. I think the Giants have a better roster than the Packers. I just think they had a shitty coach in Joe Judge.
I just think their defense is garbage. I just think they make too many mistakes. I just think the organization's a bit rotten from the top down. Whereas you can't say that about the Packers, really. Like, the Packers are a well-run organization, even though they've put themselves through the ringer stupidly for the past 2 or 3 years. But you can't really say that. Who I'm more thinking of for that Giants job, and we should have put 3 future Hall of Fame quarterbacks possibly moving on, is Russell Wilson, who apparently said go Hawks, but only as he was leaving the Eli Manning and Peyton Manning viewing session of whatever game they were viewing. I think it was the Cardinals game last week. But Russell Wilson is more of a worry for that Washington football team, New York Giants spot.
I was going to say, I think you have the right division, wrong team. I think he's going to be yelling "Fly Eagles, fly" next year.
Wow. Well, they've got two first round picks as well, so they can go out.
They can ship over to Seattle too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, what about Rodgers in Philadelphia? Now that's a scary prospect.
If he agrees, I don't know where he's willing to play too. That has a lot to do with it. And the Packers are notorious for not trading to NFC teams where other teams don't care as much. But
yeah.
Where is Rodgers willing to go to? Because all he has to do to kill a trade is say, I ain't showing up.
Yeah. 49ers. If they hadn't,
they got nothing to give anymore, though.
If they didn't sell the house, they could have had Aaron Rodgers. Just think about that. And they didn't even need to. That's the stupid thing about the 49ers, is they didn't even need to move up. And we've spoken about it a lot. But I think I can see him in the orange of Denver is the best fit for him. I understand the ownership's a bit of a funny one. I think Pittsburgh is a great. Yeah.
Why does everybody keep saying Denver's the perfect fit? What is this nucleus on their offense that makes people think they would be a juggernaut with a quarterback? I don't get it. Their running game's a little above average, but their running backs fumble at the worst possible times. People keep saying this receiving core is out of this world. When have they proved it? Like, I keep hearing this, but I have not seen it with my own eyes that they're as good as everybody keeps chirping them to be.
I think the receiving core with a quarterback who can throw them open is like Teddy Bridgewater is a perfectly fine quarterback. Great. We like Teddy on this podcast. Like, if he's at the helm of your team, you're not too worried. But he's not going to throw you open. And I think that's where I'm not as high on their wide receiving core as I am with the Pittsburgh Steelers wide receiving core. For example, their run game is existent, so that's good. I mean, the Steelers do have Najee Harris now, who's starting to be able to run the ball for them. And I think Denver's a better place to live, and it as well. No offense to Pittsburgh again, I'm really sorry, but I just think, and that run game will be above average, like more than above average. I think Williams is a great find and he'll progress. And I just looking at it, like Aaron Rodgers in Denver is just excites me a little more than him in kind of the black and gold of the Steelers.
I think the three best fits for him are the Steelers, the Raiders, because the Raiders are way more talented than people want to give him credit for. But I think the absolute best place for him that probably will not happen is the Indianapolis Colts. And I don't know why any athlete would want to play in Mile High Stadium, because I like breathing and I like not like getting run out of breath in 9 seconds, being a mile above sea level. But I think I don't know if Chris Ballard has the ammunition, but I think if you put him in Indy, you could chalk it up.
Yeah, I mean, they gave away their first round draft pick for Carson Wentz, so that's not always fantastic. But I think the reason that athletes want to play in Mile High is because once you get used to the altitude, it's why like Kenyan long distance runners are always the best, because they train at such high altitudes that when they come to lower altitudes, then they're much more ready for it than other people.
Well,
I think it definitely works to your advantage because you get used to it. And also, you're getting a bit
older.
Ryan
Clark had to have organs removed because he played there and almost died. Seriously, he had to have organs removed after the game and almost died.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the other issue for Denver is the fact that you're then playing in the same division as Justin Herbert, Derek Carr, and most importantly, Patrick Mahomes. So possibly not the best fit as we start to go through them.
One that thinks Denver's not as good. Everybody else thinks it. I'm the outlier. I get it. I get that.
I think the real best fit is the Vikings, but that'll never happen. That's the correct answer.
Yeah,
the Minnesota
let's go.
Vikings.
7 Super Bowls back to back. I'll be LeBron and Dwayne Wade. Not 1, not 2, not 3. And that's another video we're going to have to get to at some point, Maddie. The weird rumors about Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, some interesting stuff. Possibly a quarterback going into the Hall of Fame for all the wrong reasons. Maybe more the Hall of Shame than the Hall of Fame. But what an interesting video and what an interesting offseason.
If you were playing Madden, let's say the NFL is Madden, and you could just take Rodgers and throw him on one team, no matter what, when, or whatever, where are you putting him besides the Vikings or the Cowboys?
All right, okay. What I was going to say is I sack Mike McCarthy and put him on the Cowboys.
Right.
Where am I putting him where he's going to win? Or just for a bit of fun?
Where would you put him that he fits, but you think it's the best situation for both?
I'm taking him to LA, and I don't care which team you stick him in, out of the Rams or the Chargers. Like possibly the Rams because of the defense at the minute.
Yeah, I don't think that's a bad choice. I was just curious. Like, I think there's a lot of teams out there that he'll make instantly better. Like, let's just take the Redskins, for example, and that's not what I'm saying. They're an automatic playoff team. You put Aaron Rodgers on that team because they were a quarterback away from being pretty good. But for me, like I said, I think Indy was the one spot where I could stick him with that running game, with that receiving core, with that defense, that coach. I think it'd be a marriage made in heaven that I don't think will ever happen.
Yeah, and I mean, if you could trade him away for 3 first-round picks in the future and Carson Wentz for this season, for their rebuilding season, like it's not a horrible trade, I guess, but I just don't see that at all.
He's a better quarterback by far, but I think he's only worth about the Matt Stafford trade because of his age and what you're going to have to pay him. It's not that the guy's not worth the draft picks, but you're getting older. I'm only going to get a few years out of you, and I got to give up a ton of draft picks and pay you $50 million. I would just say that if you're a team, buyer beware for anything over 2 first-round draft picks. I mean, you can throw another pick, but I wouldn't go to a third first-round draft pick.
Yeah, the 2 first rounds, maybe a player, maybe your quarterback because he's not going to get any playing time. So may as well clear up that little bit of cap space as well. I just think I feel sorry for the 49ers because that's the correct answer, isn't it? Really, where would he go where he would make a difference? Where would he go where he would be happy to live? Where
pretty
would he
much his
go and all
hometown.
of that? Yeah, all of that kind of stuff, and they gave it all away 1 year too early. 1 year too early, and I mean they could still go to the Super Bowl. That in reality, they're the ones that are in the playoffs, and Aaron Rodgers is sitting at home, and they put him there. So maybe they've got it right. Maybe they've got it right in San Francisco.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting offseason. It's going to be really exciting because I think we're going to see a quarterback carousel that we've really never seen before in the NFL because top quarterbacks, franchise type guys, which are viewed differently now, were never let to walk before. And now you're seeing it more and more. So I'm very interested in this. Might change this year, but I read a stat that there's never been a Super Bowl winning team that their quarterback has taken up more than 20% of their cap.
Yeah, I mean that's but the cap's going up and up and up. That's the thing, isn't it? So it's where the cap, it's kind of where the cap
Yeah,
goes,
but
the percentage.
that a lot of these teams already spent that. Like your Cowboys already spent that on Dak. It's already spent. So you don't get to go up. You get zero rise in the cap because that percentage plus more is already eaten up by your quarterback. The same with the Vikings. That's already considered into the cap. So that raise doesn't help your or my team.
Yeah, we're just in a shitty situation. I mean, if Dak and if Dak and Kirk Cousins were Aaron Rodgers, I'm sure we wouldn't have to worry about that too much.
Right.
The NFL's changing. The way that quarterbacks play is completely different, and Patrick Mahomes is testament to that. Josh Allen is testament to that. I don't know how much Matt Stafford gets paid, but he was awesome this weekend. I just think the way that quarterback play is kind of is eking out is they're getting more and more important, even though they've already been ridiculously important. They're getting even more and more and more important because of the way the NFL's going.
All right, guys. Well, there you have it. That was us breaking down some of the crazy stuff with 2 Hall of Famers sitting on the couch. Well, future Hall of Famers, but there's no doubt in my mind. All right, Maddie, we're going to have a lot of crazy stuff to talk about this upcoming offseason, a couple more games to talk about. It's good times, man, but I'm a little sad that football's almost over.
Yeah, but we're getting into where the real nooks and crannies are of being podcasters, and that's looking into real detail at everything that we're able to do rather than just coming on and saying, oh, we watched the same game as you guys, and so now we really get into the business end of where we are. I think our best content is always made in the off season.
Well, there you have it, guys. Maddie's pumping us up for the offseason, so make sure you stick around. And thanks for watching. If you enjoyed, hit the like or subscribe no matter where you are. Go over. Subscribe on YouTube, man. We need the play. Tell a friend to tell a friend. One world, one love. Deuces.
Cheerio. Oh, that's okay.